Welcome to PMBOK Guide 7th edition principles. In this video, we'll be exploring the 12 principles in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. Principle number 1, stewardship. Be a diligent, respectful, and caring steward. Stewards act responsibly to carry out activities with integrity, care, trustworthiness, while maintaining compliance with internal and external guidelines. Stewardship includes integrity, care, trustworthiness, and compliance. Talking about integrity, stewards behave honestly and ethically in all engagements and communications. Speaking about care, stewards are fiduciaries of the organizational matters in their charge. Trustworthiness, stewards represent themselves, their roles, their project team, and the authority accurately, both inside and outside of the organization. And stewards comply with laws. This refers to compliance, the understanding that rules, regulations, and laws should be followed. Principle number 2, collaboration. Create a collaborative project team environment. Project teams are made up of individuals who wield diverse skills, knowledge, and experience. Projects are delivered by project teams. Project teams work with organizational and professional cultures and guidelines. A collaborative project team environment facilitates alignment with other cultures and guidelines, individual and team learning, and optimal contributions to deliver desired outcomes. Remember, it's all about individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Number 3, stakeholders. Effectively engage with stakeholders. Engage stakeholders proactively and to the degree needed to contribute to project success and customer satisfaction. Stakeholders influence project performance and outcomes. Project teams serve other stakeholders by engaging with them. Stakeholder engagement proactively advances value delivery. It's all about value being delivered to the stakeholder. And that takes us to principle number 4, which is all about value. Focus on value. Remember, in the Agile Practice Guide, mention is made of the true measure of progress being working software. Continually evaluate and adjust project alignment to business objectives and intended benefits and value. Not only do we want to offer what works for the client, it must deliver value. Value is the ultimate indicator of project success. You've heard this said in a different way. Working product is the primary measure of progress. Value can be realized throughout the project, at the end of the project, or after the project is complete. In the world of the PMI, we have spoken quite frequently about the benefits management plan. Remember, value is the net quantifiable benefit that the customer experiences. So don't focus only on the deliverable. Instead, keep value in the forefront. Project teams evaluate progress and adapt to maximize expected value. Moving on to principle 5, systems thinking. Recognize, evaluate, and respond to systems interactions. Recognize, evaluate, and respond to the dynamic circumstances within and surrounding the project in a holistic way to positively affect project performance. A project is a system within a wider system. It's a system of interdependent and interacting domains of activity. Systems thinking entails taking a holistic view of how project parts interact with each other and with external systems. Systems are constantly changing, requiring consistent attention to internal and external conditions. Being responsive to systems interactions allows project teams to leverage project outcomes. Let's move on to principle 6, leadership. Demonstrate leadership behaviors. My mentor, John Maxwell, always says the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. He also says, he who thinks he leadeth, but has no one following after him, is only taking a walk. So, how do we demonstrate Leadership behaviors. Demonstrate and adapt leadership behaviors to support individual and team needs. Remember, in the seventh edition, we talk about the Hersey Blanchard model, situational leadership. Well, this is where we understand individuals are different. Effective leadership promotes project success and contributes to positive project outcomes. Leadership is not authority. Granted, authority is the starting point for a leader, but leadership is much more than just authority. Effective leaders adapt their style to the situation. Effective leaders recognize differences in motivation among project team members. Leaders demonstrate desired behaviors in areas of honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct. Let's talk about Principle 7, Tailor. Tailor based on context. Tailoring based on context means you are tailoring with the unique circumstance in mind, understanding that each project is unique. No two projects are exactly the same. The time frame in which the project is taking place, the organization, the stakeholders, all of these make for a unique experience project by project. So tailoring is the job of the project manager and the team working together collaboratively, but doing so in context, understanding that projects that have passed may have similarities, but are not exactly the same as projects that we're working on currently. Project success is based on adapting to the unique context of the project to determine the most appropriate methods of producing the desired outcomes. Tailoring the approach is iterative and therefore is a continuous process throughout the project. In the seventh edition, mention is made of adaptive methods, predictive methods, hybrid methods. It is these considerations that are being referred to in the context of tailoring. Let's move on to principle number 8, quality. Build quality into processes and deliverables. You've heard it being said in the Agile Practice Guide. Technical excellence and good design enhances agility. This is all about quality. Project quality is all about satisfying stakeholder expectations and fulfilling project and product requirements. Quality is three things majorly historically in this world of the PMI: fitness for use, conforming to requirements, and customer satisfaction, which trumps everything else. Quality focuses on meeting acceptance criteria for deliverables. Project quality entails ensuring project processes are appropriate and as effective as possible. Remember that at the end of the sprint, the team tunes and adjusts its behavior. This is a quality job. Quality is of paramount importance to the project manager. Moving on to principle 9, complexity. Navigate complexity. There's extensive writings about complexity in PMI's publications. Complexity is the result of human behavior, system interactions, uncertainty, and ambiguity. Complexity can emerge at any point during the project. Complexity can be introduced by events or conditions that affect value, scope, communications, stakeholders, risk, and technological innovation. Project teams can stay vigilant in identifying elements of complexity and use a variety of models and methods to reduce the amount of impact of complexity. Remember, complexity is also covered sufficiently well in the PMBOK guide, 7th edition, and even also the 6th. Let's move on to our next principle, principle number 10, risk. Optimize risk responses. Continue to evaluate exposure to risk, positive and negative, both opportunities and threats, to maximize positive impacts and minimize negative impacts to the project and its outcomes. Individual and overall risks can impact projects. Risk can be positive or negative. Risks are addressed continually throughout the project. An organization's risk attitude, appetite, and threshold influence how risk is addressed. What do we mean by appetite? Well, how much food are you willing to eat? How much risk are you willing to take on to pursue an opportunity? Describes appetite. Risk responses for both risks and opportunities, positive risks, negative risks, they should be appropriate for the significance of the risk, cost effective, realistic, agreed to by relevant stakeholders, and owned by a responsible person, usually known as the risk owner. Let's move to Principle 11. Principle 11, Adaptability and Resiliency. Embrace adaptability and resiliency. Adaptability is the ability to respond to changing conditions. Resiliency is the ability to absorb impacts and to recover quickly from a setback or failure. A focus on outcomes rather than outputs facilitates adaptability. So build adaptability and resiliency into the organizations and the project team's approaches to help the project accommodate change, recover from setbacks, and advance the work of the project. One of the ways to do this is to have your eyes and ears open to those enterprise environmental factors and to be able to bounce back accordingly. Let's move on to our final one, number 12, change. Enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. A structured approach to change helps individuals, groups, and the organization transition from the current state to a future desired state. After all, that's what projects are all about, moving from a current state to a future state. Change can originate from internal influences or external sources. Enabling change can be challenging as not all stakeholders embrace change. Attempting too much change in a short time can lead to change fatigue and resistance. Stakeholder engagement and motivational approaches assist in change adoption. I'd like to invite you to read about the copious amounts of change models talked about in the seventh edition. Look for the outcome model, look for the FEPIMS model, look for the John Cotter's model, look for other models talked about. Understand the William Bridges model, and this will help you in understanding organizational change, which goes far beyond project change management. Prepare those impacted for the adoption and sustainment of new and different behaviors and processes required for the transition from the current state to the intended future state created by the project outcomes. Have empathy for these people in the back of your mind. And that concludes our review of the 12 principles in the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay agile.